Peter Welch of Vermont. He's on the Judiciary Committee and questioned Bove today. Welcome.
You sure did question Bove, Senator. Let's play. I was just stunned. I'm like, we are still talking about this, but here it is.
Who won the 2020 election for President of the United States?
President Biden was certified as the winner of that election.
So you give the standard answer. You can't say that he won because he got the majority of votes and also got the Electoral College victory?
I think the characterizations that you just made, Senator, are both political, and so I can't address them under the canons, and they're also tied up in ongoing litigation.
Help me understand how it's political to state who got the most votes in any election.
Senator, I'm just trying to be precise.
Emil Bove has been nominated for a New Jersey-based seat on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit. Did you think, was his appearance sufficient enough to earn your support today?
No, he ended by saying he was being precise. I think he was being evasive, is the better word. Essentially, Bove has his individual challenges. He's got a real temperament issue that's been documented throughout his career by people who've worked on the other side of cases with him, by his fellow attorneys. And even there was action taken about the possible demotion for him. And it's all around temperament. But he also, as you saw, was very evasive on the basic question of who won the election. And all of the Trump folks have taken the talking point that Biden is the president. But the real issue here with him, with Todd Blanche, and with the Attorney General Bondi, all of whom are very close and have been in the trenches with Trump, is that President Trump has largely succeeded in making the Justice Department his personal law firm. That's, I think, the heart of what is very alarming to me. And I don't want Bove to go from where he is to an appellate court judge.
And that sentiment was echoed today by Senator Blumenthal. Here's what he had to say about the appearance of a quid pro quo.
But the quid pro quo that really concerns me is the one that brings you here today. You were virtually the only attorney in the Department of Justice willing to go to court and make a claim that career prosecutors said violated their basic standard of ethics. And the quid pro quo was a nomination to the Court of Appeals. That's the appearance that the American people can take away.
Do you share that concern, Senator?
Well, I do. I think that he's demonstrated, along with the others, that his client is Donald Trump. And if you're in the Justice Department, your client is the Constitution and the people in this country. And obviously there's a tension there. But the bottom line is he's been a very, very loyal supporter to do whatever it is the president wants. And he is being rewarded. He already was with the Justice Department appointment.
So I got a couple of places I want to go here because this guy's a joke. I'm sorry. Bove is a joke. It's an unserious selection to a very important appeals court. And I wish people would stop pretending that somehow that this is their serious matter. Donald Trump is punking the judicial system. He's punking the Senate. He's put up incompetent individual after individual. So here's my question. Did anyone bother to ask this individual? Okay, if you did say, let's pretend, Mr. Bove, that you didn't say that, but someone else did. Would you, as a sitting member of the appeals court, what would you say if someone said to you, F the courts?
Well,
what would be your view on that, sir?
Michael, we needed you on the Judiciary Committee today because that actually is a really
That's a good question.
What you're getting at is you can ask a direct question, as Adam Schiff did, as I did. And right. I think you're entitled to the expectation of a candid answer. They've got their scripted remarks that are all elusive. So if we take it out one step later, I'm not talking about you. I say to the witness,
Right.
just hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Yeah. And would they admit that? They might figure out that it's a backdoor.
Well, no, but then
we're
he'd
trying
say,
to get
Senator,
them-
then he said, well, Senator, I don't want to answer hypotheticals.
Well, that's right. And
Right?
That's the go-to.
And that tells you everything you need to know. But here's the other, for me, here's the nub of this process and this procedure.
Yeah.
What can Democrats do to stop it?
Well, the reality is we don't have the votes in the Judiciary Committee. So our goal there is to expose and reveal as much as we possibly can the evasion that his service is towards an individual, Trump, as opposed to the Constitution and the country, and hopefully make that something that our Republican colleagues or one is going to join us in a vote on. But the other thing is that there's got to be an internalization, I think, by the American people with us trying to show that Trump's Justice Department is about Trump. It's not about the rule of law. That is not relevant to them. And now we've got three people there, the Attorney General, the Deputy, Todd Blanche, and this person who now may get a appellate court justice appointment. But the bottom line here is that at a certain point, the American people are going to have a chance to weigh in, but they've got to be able to see. We've got to help reveal that this Justice Department is not like anything we've ever seen before. You know, one of the things he did and Blanche did, they fired people who committed, who were on the prosecutions of January 6 defendants, folks who were beat up cops. And one of his initial actions was to get a list of everybody who worked on these cases. And by the way, a lot of these were career prosecutors. It's not like they volunteered to work on it. They showed up for work. That was the file that was on their desk.
Right.
And you've got to respect people when they're doing their job. And the fact that they were assigned and then did fair and square, and a lot of these folks who were later pardoned, you know, with the full cooperation of these folks, it tells you what the Justice Department was about. It was about serving Donald Trump.